Hello and welcome to Global Morning, and it's a delight to know you're joining us here on Global Television. We're live in Abuja, Nigeria's capital. I'm Uyi Agbomofuegbe.
Good morning, Uyi.
Good morning, Ramsey. Good to see you.
Good to see you too. It's another beautiful day, and of course, we are here again.
We're here again.
We are here again, and we'll continue to be here because the people deserve to know, and that's the reason we are here. So good to have all of you join us this morning as we take you through a smooth ride on Global Morning today.
All right, as always, it's a loaded program, no doubt about that, such that from point to point, we'll let you in on some of the big stories in our country and a little beyond in the middle of broadcast of Global Morning today. Just yesterday, we heard that the lawyer to Kanu, Nnamdi Kanu, that is, who, again, we understand joined the protest on Monday, has now been remanded alongside his brother and some 10 other people. But that's not even the crux of the matter. Because one would have thought after Monday protest and all of the drama, so to speak, that we saw, the whole thing would have ended already. But there's a whole new twist, like an entirely different dimension to the matter now, because Kanu's lawyer obviously is party, so to speak, to the case that's pending in front of, before the High Court here in Abuja. And then he joined the protests. And, even in our field of work in the media, we say we try as much as possible by way of being professional, not to go surgeries, knowing that a matter is before court, it has become a subject of litigation. And for somebody who is representing someone like Nnamdi Kanu in a high-profile case such as this, one would have thought Mr. Aloy Ejimakor would not find himself caught in this kind of web and all of that. What the motivation was, we can't be sure. But it will appear he jumped the gun by joining that protest. For a man like Moyole Sowore, the publisher of online platform Sahara Reporters, you can understand that he's first an activist before anything else. He's not a lawyer, so he probably would not understand the implication of those actions from Monday. But for someone like, a long-standing lawyer like Barrister Ejimakor, one would have expected a bit of discernment on his part. But now we understand the case in the courts. There had been application for his bail by his own lawyer. That didn't go through because from unconfirmed reports, we're hearing that his legal team could not serve that notice on the authorities, the DSS, I suppose, in this case. But in all of this, it just shows that this week has been very eventful. It has been very dramatic since Monday. Today is Wednesday.
Today is Wednesday, and many is still expected. This is Nigeria. You get to hear of so many things happening. But coming to talk about the issue of that protest, Sowore, no one will blame Sowore for staging a protest for any reason in Nigeria if you know who he is and his cause and what he stands for, as he said. But like you just mentioned, a high-profile standing lawyer like Barrister Aloy Ejimakor, I think someone was talking about it yesterday on a sister station, and he said, well, this is one, it was even a son that was talking about it. He said, number one, it's unprofessional, and number two, it's against the law of the profession. Okay, going to the street now, this is a case you're defending in court, then going to the street saying they should release the same person whom you are defending in court when the person is facing trial is a big offense. Then you start asking questions. What really happened? Did he forgot that there are rules to the game so quickly? Why would he have done that? Sowore wouldn't know. I think Sowore on his own part will be happy that the barrister is joining the protest. Probably maybe he was being asked to join, but as a professional, you should be able to educate the other people to say, well, since I am the one, standing for Mazi, I shouldn't be in that protest. You can walk from behind, but not be in the forefront.
Right.
All right? You don't have to be in that protest. That's against the law. Now, they are in Kuje. No one knows what will happen yet, but at the end of the day, I think the case will still end up in the court. But this is a barrister, all right, a legal practitioner falling into the web of the law here. So we'll just keep our fingers crossed to see what his own legal team will be able to do at the end of the day. But I tell you the truth, it may not be very easy, as some people are saying it. Sometimes it's easier said than done. Shore was running on that day of the protest during the gunshot, and some people were saying, why should he run?
Right.
He should run, of course, because he has blood running in his vein. This is somebody that knows the importance of life, all right? So you who is participating in this protest, peaceful protest is allowed in the country, but the truth is, where somebody's right ends is where the other person's rights begins. The way and manner this protest is being carried out is what some persons are questioning, especially some senior advocates of Nigeria. But at the end of the day, we are not judicial officers, we are not legal practitioners, but we know from our basic elementary knowledge of what the law entails, we know that even you and I, if we're talking about any case that is already in court here, we'll say, okay, this is how far we can go.
Right.
Because we wouldn't want to preempt the court, you know, and it will become a contempt of court or something.
Right.
So somebody who is a practicing legal practitioner should know better. That's what Nigerians are saying right now. So let's just wait and see how far the legal team will be able to go. And these other persons, these other 10 persons that are in custody right now, maybe after a while, when things subside, they may be released. Then you'll be forced to ask questions. What about some of the people that participated in the EndSARS protest? Are they still in custody? Are some of them still in custody? Have all of them been released? These questions will leave to Nigerians.
All right. We just hope that these developments, I mean, the detention of or remand, as it's specifically referred to now, of Barrister Aloyede Macaul will not further complicate or compound an already tense legal tussle between Nnamdi Kanu, leader of proscribed indigenous people of Biafra group, and the federal government. Let's take a break now. When we return, we'll talk to you about what the president is now bragging about regarding recovery of what we might call, well, looted national resources. All of that coming shortly. Please stay with us. Just this week, President Bola Tinubu again has, by himself, added another feather to his cap, and that is him now telling Nigerians that the FCC has done amazingly well, particularly under his leadership in the last 2+ years. For starters, he says the Anti-Graft Agency has prosecuted thousands, yes, thousands of cases to their logical conclusion. And that is commendable, quite frankly, given how that one of the planks on which this government had campaigned in 2022 was to say it would fight corruption tooth and nail. So on that front, it is quite laudable that the EFCC can add that to its list of achievements. But add to that, the president has also said that the EFCC has recovered over 500 billion naira. That's upwards of half a trillion. That's a whole lot of money already recovered by the Economic and Financial Crimes Commission. Again, that is something that is a landmark achievement, because in a country where we have been told that it is not only that there is corruption, there is systemic, endemic, pervasive corruption, which means that it's going to also take a systemic kind of approach or method to be able to run circles around that sort of monster. There are those who have had to take the executive chairman of the commission to the cleaners on several occasions. Those who say they found holes in his leadership at the helms. But we also have others who have commended him for the work he has done there since he took over leadership again in the course of the administration of President Bola Tinubu. Beyond that, this is not the first time that the EFCC would announce to Nigeria what its achievements have been, especially in the area of recovery. Recall that under former president, now deceased, Muhammadu Buhari, the EFCC, under former executive chairman Ibrahim Magu, had also told Nigerians then what it had achieved, including confiscation of all kinds, including and not limited to international passports. And then former Minister of Information and Culture, Lai Mohammed, also came out to brag about that to Nigerians. But there was a question raised at that time as to what difference would that make in the socio-economic journey of Nigeria. Now, if you put that question differently, what is being asked is how much and in what specific ways will these recoveries impact Nigeria? For context, when several houses were recovered, said to be linked to former, now very embattled CBN Governor Godwin Emefiele, there was also the call for those houses to be given to Nigerians at, if you like, very affordable prices. Because in a country where you're dealing with such a humongous deficit in housing, affordable housing in particular, that argument just makes a lot of sense. So between what has been recovered by the EFCC and the impact it has on Nigerians, the everyday citizen, where exactly are we? How does it benefit Ramsey and we?
In fact, I think you've said it all. Me, I'm still waiting for when they will let those houses out.
Right.
At least, as some persons that have made impact, we've had situations whereby churches go to build houses for some veterans because they are homeless somehow, or probably where they are staying.
It's not befitting.
It's not befitting at all. We've heard of cases like that. Why not let those people into those houses? It's going to go a long way. It will be part of the things that will put Nigerians, at least in the good books of the world somehow, you know, as it has to do with image making and regards for veterans who have actually served the country. That's for Emefiele. I think some persons are of the opinion that the EFCC, ICPC, in fact, anti-graft agencies are agents of the government, whether you like it or not. We are not saying the assignment has been done or is being done or everything is going on 100%, but at least there are recoveries.
Right.
There are people who are watchdogs of Nigeria right now as a country when it has to do with anti-graft matters that you can say, okay, EFCC or ICPC will come after you, even though some persons may want to jump from one party to the other to cover some things. When the time comes, they still do their job. Coming to talk about the activities of EFCC under President Ahmed Bola Tinubu, I think so far so good. Some persons are saying what Emefiele is actually going through right now is as a result of the stress being given to President Bola Ahmed Tinubu when he was trying to contest for his presidential position because of the change, the Naira change, you know, and all of that, the currency issue. But then if you look at it, whether or not, these things, it's not just because somebody hates you and they said, okay, this is what, if there are evidences, whether you are for or against, the person should be meant to face the wrath of the law. Whether you are, see, there's something I'm waiting for this administration to do, and I'm very sure they will do it. That's the issue of even probing people who are in office. We're already hearing about pocket of issues like that already, you know, even though that of Beta Edu, or up till now, we don't know how it ended. But as it is, she lost her position.
Right.
All right? She lost her
On
position.
account of presidential suspension.
Presidential suspension. She's still on suspension. But I don't see her coming back to the scene.
Of course, that ministry is getting a new minister. very
Getting a
soon.
new minister.
Just yesterday, the president nominated a gentleman. You know, we already had a minister who took over after Dr. Edu left.
Yes,
all
who
right.
is now the
national chairman of the ruling
of,
APC. So the president yesterday, after about 2 months, has just nominated a gentleman again from Plateau State. And we understand that.
Is it the birthright of people from Plateau State?
well,
Wale is from Plateau, right?
No. Betta Edun is from Cross River States. All right. So after she left, of course, going by that suspension,
That's
a
Wale.
replacement came from Plateau. Of course, you know how these things work with
federal let them finish their
federal character,
I understand.
framework and all of that. So because Mr. Nawada is from Plateau, so his replacement is also coming from Plateau now. But long and short of the story is that ministry will get a minister in a beat, because we understand that the president has forwarded the name already.
There is something
So
I'm still longing for,
which is
in that ministry, because I don't know. In fact, sometimes I felt at a point I was feeling like, why did Edu do this thing? Why?
Because he wanted a lady to be there.
I've watched her when she came into office. I've watched her a couple of times. I was following her. Why was I following her? Because of how sensitive that ministry is.
Right.
Ministry of Humanitarian Affairs. That is one ministry that you can vouch for and hold responsible, as it has to do with touching lives right at the grassroots, the nook and crannies of this country. You understand? And she came up with a lot of promises. She was on television, she was in the media, we're seeing so many things. And some people were saying, oh, this woman, she's up to something. People were expecting a whole lot before that thing happened. But what can you say in a country where there is no continuity? Somebody may be corrupt,
Right.
but then have a beautiful idea that can drive the system. If that person has put his or her idea on the table before the incident, the person coming in under normal circumstance should be able to look at those strategies and see one or two out of those strategies that they can marry with their own strategy to hit the ground running and at least make Nigerians feel good about the economy. At least the economy has been biting seriously. Some people cannot forget the Anchor Borrowers program,
which ended up scandalous.
NISA, school feeding program,
Right.
even though it was being hijacked by some persons. But whether you like it or not, we have these people in the system. It's just, see, if not until you put people in position, you don't know who they are.
Right.
If you don't, somebody will say, well, a man is very gentle. My pastor will always say it. Some people, it is when God bless them that they begin to have enough breakthrough, as it has to do with wealth, that they will start now realizing that their wife is old, that they need to marry another wife.
Not educated enough.
Not educated enough, not tall enough.
She doesn't have much of
She
class.
doesn't have, yes. You
Right.
know, so it is until some persons get into certain positions, certain levels, you begin to know who they are. You know, so as it is right now, Bola Ahmed Tinubu, President Bola Ahmed Tinubu, His Excellency's administration, for now, is not doing badly. But I feel there are more corrupt people in the system that can actually be fetched out. Because what we're crying for is how we can sanitize the society,
Right.
and at least get a fair image. I'm not even talking about a good or better image now. Looking at
a
how
perfect
deteriorated, the situation is. We're just looking for a fair image. At least, you know, a lot of people have had issues trying to get international recognitions, and that is not forthcoming because of some image issues. You know, I think the EFCC even though they've said, the president have said under his administration, corruption the fight against corruption is intense, a lot of corrupt people, things that have been discovered and all of that. When you discover and you recover, there is another thing again for you to reposition those resources, like we're talking about the houses just now, in such a way that Nigerians can say, yes, these things came out of corruption. But most times you hear that this one has been recovered, this one has been recovered, it has been pushed to the fund that was recovered abroad sometimes back.
Right.
They said it was given to governors. Those governors, some of them, majority of them are not saints now. This money doesn't get down to the people that really deserve this.
Ramsey, I think you're making a lot of points. I mean, the points are so concerning that it makes you want to go back to some of the things we discussed yesterday: accountability and transparency. Just at the twilight of his second term in office, former governor of Rivers State, Nyesom Wike, of course, now the minister of the FCT, had talked about the lifeline that governors across board, regardless of your political leaning or partisan affiliation, got from the federal government under the leadership of former president, now late in blessed memory, Muhammadu Buhari. And he dared other governors to come out and mention how much they got. Those governors, most of them left office more than 2 years ago. Since while they were still in office, till now, this point, when they've already left office, none of them have come out to mention.
That's what we're talking about.
None of them have even acknowledged in the first instance that they got anything. But I think what politicians and indeed the political class must realize, one way or another, is that you're supposed to. I use that phrase very advisedly. You're supposed to understand that you've been hired by the Nigerian people. When you come begging for votes, because yes, that's what politicians do. They beg for votes, right? When you come begging for votes, you're like a job applicant. You're like a fresh out of college graduate who is looking for a job, wants to have industry experience, wants to land an entry level job. So you are being paid by the Nigerian people, by the taxpayers in this country. So the last thing you want to do is to put up this posture of a demigod or have this complex of I'm doing you people a favor. I think that's the kind of complex that governors bring to the table. That's the kind of, if you like, energy, all right, that they send off, the kind of energy that they pass to the people. This kind of mentality that I did roads, I built schools, I set up hospitals. You make it look like you saved up money over 50 years to come do it for the people. These are monies that belong to the people. Today is 22nd, I understand. Shortly, in a few weeks, governors are going to send their commissioners for finance to Abuja to collect FAC. The question is, where is FAC coming from? Is it not from the crude that belongs to the Nigerian people? Yeah. Is it not from the taxes that the Nigerian people pay? Is it not from the land that the Nigerian people have been blessed with by the Almighty God, on which they farm, on which they carry out agricultural activities? So the long and short of the story is the conversation around accountability, around transparency, around equitable distribution of resources and indeed patrimony can never end. It just has to even become more vehement. It means that citizens must double down, which is the reason civic education is non-negotiable. People must understand not just their rights, but what are the ingredients, let's say, that make up those rights. You must know how that a governor is accountable to the least citizen in the state.
Yes.
A governor of
but
the
they
state,
don't know. That's the problem.
You see, that's why you and I are here this morning, Ramsey. We've had to make a lot of sacrifices to be here in good enough time so we can continue to advance this conversation. A governor in the state, for example, is no more of a citizen of that state or an indigene of that state than any other indigene of that state.
Even a 1-year-old child that is already an indigene of that difference is that state.
Exactly. The only difference is that the governor just has what they call privilege of service. And that's why in an ideal situation, if citizens by and large are not comfortable, not satisfied, not impressed with what an elected officer has done, whether president, governor, or even local government chairman, in the next cycle of elections, you vote them out. I mean, you go to the polls and you use your ballot power to vote them out, and you bring in those people who are
Silently.
convinced can do the job and deliver based on experience, competence, and capacity. But again, this conversation has hardly even
A lot of governors are tested, but they are not trusted.
Oh,
a lot of
they've
them.
been tested.
But they are not trusted.
All right. There's something that we have been tested and trusted with here on Global Morning. That's the fact that every other day, Monday through Sunday, we would always bring you the newspaper headlines, and that's coming up next.
Let's take you through the national dailies for today, beginning from the Vanguard newspaper this morning. Well, on the Vanguard this morning, I want to begin with the first story at the top of the paper. 73% rural residents say inflation rate is high. That is CBN saying 73% rural residents says inflation rate is high. Why governors, others are defecting to APC? Governor Sule is the one who said that. If you really want to know, pick a copy of the Vanguard newspaper. A lot of people have thought of the reason why the defection is going on, even though ADC say, well, the defection to APC will not help them in 2027. I don't know what the strategy is, but then that's coming from ADC, and Governor Sule is now saying why there is a reason. We've been looking for the reason. Probably he has gotten the reason. So just go through the papers for more details. ISWAP plans a fresh attack in Ondo Kogi, according to DSS. ISWAP. All right, one writer to that story, and the writer says, Ondo Police CP holds security summit. All right, let's move away from the security meeting. Then this one says we will go after enemies of our sovereignty. That is coming from DSS. We will go after enemies of our sovereignty. And on to the big story on the Vanguard newspaper this morning, Abuja protests. That is the kicker. Well, the protest is everywhere. Everyone is talking about it. Court reminds Kano's lawyer, brother, 10 others in prison. We just finished talking about that. Some writers to that story right now. And the first writer says, defendants chanted war songs. Police allege. I am safe, but still in Kuje prison. Ejimako is the one talking to Nigerians right there. That is Kano's lawyer that we talked about a few minutes ago. Wabara demands release of Kano's brother and others. We are mimicking democracy. Farotimi is the one saying that. The last right, the one saying false judiciary. Action Aid, Amnesty International condemn assault on protesters. We saw how tear gas was thrown at them. Some persons alleged they were gunshots and all of that. Now Amnesty International is talking about that. Why Nigeria should not be designated country of concern. This is coming from Kuka. Bishop Cook arrived there. One writer to that story, and he says, Khan fires back at presidency, says Christian genocide is real. That's on page 8. 2026 World Cup qualifiers. That's the kicker. NFF rolls out plans for Super Eagles playoff. Okay, let's see how the plan is going to go. All right, those are the headlines from the Vanguard newspaper this morning as we take you to the next point of call.
All right, New Telegraph is where we turn to next. Let's see what we have. First off, from the just top of the nameplate, it says telecoms major operators cripple MVNO's 8.6 billion naira license market projections. Rehabilitation, federal government plans Alscon's revival connection to national grid. Then top right of it, underneath the nameplate, ex-French President Sarkozy starts 5-year jail term. Yes, he left for prison off the center of Paris yesterday morning, and supporters were gathered in front of his house to show solidarity. But the former president has continually insisted that he is not a former president being sent to jail, he's an innocent man being sentenced. But again, that matter has to do with allegations that he had received financial support from late former leader of Libya, Muammar Gaddafi, which of course we know is against the rules as far as elections in the global West is concerned. We are yet to get to that conversation in Nigeria, though. But let's continue to make progress at our own pace. Federal government to review air traffic controllers' retirement age to 65. Rivers emergency rule. Supreme Court reserves judgment in PDP governor suit. Those are details you can find on page 7. One headline here with a picture of Nigeria's Vice President, Kashim Shettima. The kicker is Shettima, Tinubu building inclusive prosperity through enterprise-driven reforms. Takes us to the Star headline. We'll go after enemies of our sovereignty. That is credited to Chief of Defense Staff. That headline has quite a number of riders with it. Details are on pages 2 and 7. On the right corner of the paper, still front page, Senate to approve retention of recovery 2% for EFCC. I think that has been the conversation for a while, how that agencies of government, some of them though, within the certain brackets, should be able to retain 2% of whatever they make, whether by way of revenue generation or recovery, like you have in the cases of the EFCC and ICPC being Nigeria's leading anti-graft entities. Okay, I know some persons have already grabbed their calculators, looking at what the 2% of 500 billion would be. All right, that's the area market's attitude. Then we have some more headlines here, still on the front page of the New Telegraph. Here it says, INEC clears 2.82 million to vote in Anambra Guba. The countdown has begun. Election is for 8th of November, and we have that as one of our big conversations on the show this morning. All right. Khan accuses presidency of distortion, insists Christian genocide real. Okay. Intervention to states. Reps ask Edun Cardoso for detailed financial reports. Well, we understand the finance minister had been in the United Kingdom for medicals, yes, for the World Bank, IMF meetings in Washington. We saw that the governor of the Central Bank of Nigeria, Dr. Olayemi Cardoso, had been directed by the president to represent Nigeria. So he led the delegation. We also saw Minister of State for Finance there, Dr. Uzoka Anyete, also being part of that delegation. All right, so let's go wrap it up with a headline at the foot of the front page of the New Telegraph. Prenatal pollution hinders newborn brain growth. There's a study there, and this is my favorite every other day on the front page of the New Telegraph. You can read up details of that study on page 27, and of course, read up other details as well from the New Telegraph today. Let's flip over to the Guardian newspaper.
All right, let's get to the Guardian newspaper this morning and see some of the headlines right there. The big story is where I'm starting from. 5G promise fade as pricey phones, services shut out poor Nigerians. Maybe you can pick a copy of that. You know, I'm a tech enthusiast, so when I see things like this, there is something that happens to my head, and it reminds me of where we are technologically and how we even take advantage of technology in Nigeria. Federal 5G promise fades as pricey phones, services shut out poor Nigerians. Probably the person who would have made use of this 5G, who knows what to do, does not have access to get a phone that is 5G compliant.
Right.
And that's what it is. So I think the federal government leader, we should be thinking towards this direction, because if we must move in the space, all right, with the speed of light as regards what is happening around the world right now, technology is taking over the world. We are in a 21st century where everything is becoming digitalized. So we need to at least do everything to measure up with the standard. A Senate slams life sentence on child defilement to toughen laws on rape. Right, that's good. Don't designate Nigeria country of concern. Kuka appeals. Okay. Details of that you can get on page 3. And then we also have this headline, which says, OAU students live in fear as robbers repeatedly raid Moremi Estate hostels. Insecurity everywhere. Oil sector falters as FIRS pushes government's revenue by 31.38 trillion naira. You can pick a copy of The Guardian to actually get more details about that. And of course, let's look at the ruling party a little bit. As APC rallies behind Tinubu, ex-ministers warns corruption, poverty, pushing nation to edge. Details you can get on page 6. Well, it's no longer a story that a lot of people are complaining of hunger in this country. And some will tell you, but have you not been going to the market? The price of staple food is reducing drastically. One is for it to reduce, and the other side of it is whether the capital, the cash, is available to even get this food produce.
Right.
Well, those are the headlines from the Guardian newspaper this morning.
All right, thank you, Ramsey. Let's bring you headlines as well from the Daily Trust newspaper. The first 3 writes under the Daily Trust newspaper, top right first. Bauchi creates 13 new emirates. ADC Secretariat attacked in Ekiti, Party 6 probe. I saw a young man yesterday bleeding all over his head, face, and neck, and somebody claimed that he had been attacked by people from a different political party, but apparently this headline is in reference to that picture. Doro replaces Nentawe as minister. This was one of the issues Ramsey and I chatted about a while ago. And then the big story, women, children killed in another Niger tanker explosion. Operative word, another, which means this is not the first, but we do sincerely pray, hope, and we'll try as much as we can to work and ensure that this becomes the last. It's becoming a very nasty recurrence. Yesterday, we saw a story about how the governor of the state, Umar Bago, was commiserating with the families that have lost their loved ones in this unfortunate incident. Christian genocide claiming Nigeria false. Sultan is the one to whom that is credited. And then, incidentally, those are the headlines we have for you from the Daily Trust newspaper. Turns out that the Daily Independent has many more headlines this morning. So let's take you to the Daily Independent now.
All right, on the Daily Independent, let's look at some of the stories making round right there. A Daily Independent, beginning from the top of the paper, I have this one which says 35 feared dead, 40 injured in Niger tanker explosion. This is, in the other paper, they said another.
Another, right?
Meaning this isn't the first time it's happening. But then, I don't know, the issue of tanker explosion is becoming something worrisome in Nigeria. The Senate endorses life imprisonment for defilement of minors. Some riders to that story: Malls EFCC retaining 2% of recovery, confirm Aminu Yusuf as NPC chairman. And of course, the big story: deadly shortcut. That's the kicker. The corruption reading Nigeria's vehicle inspections. Okay. You can pick a copy of the Daily Independent for more details. This lack of popularity pushing defecting governors to join APC, that is ADC saying. Could that be what Governor Sule wanted talking about? Well, I'm not sure. ADC is saying, well, these governors have to defect because they are not popular and they need to remain relevant. So they need to move to APC. Let people hear that this person has defected. I think, to me, I feel it's even beyond that, probably.
Right.
A court sacks Ebonyi local government chairman, councillors elected in 2024. 2027 is the kicker of this story. Lagos APC backs Tinubu, attacks residents on large voter turnout. Affliction shall not rise the second time. APC shouldn't lose in Lagos in 2027. I don't think that will happen again, like it happened in 2023. Everyone was surprised, including me.
Right.
I won't lie.
That
was
the
surprised.
president lost Lagos.
In Lagos. Lagos. We're talking about Lagos here. Lagos, we had a lot of stories, and sometimes you begin to think if some of these stories are true, when they were like, well, even at the polling unit, if you are not for APC, some touts were beating people, driving people away. People were moving from one place in the market to say, let's see your PVC and all of that for APC, and all of that happened. So sometimes some of the things people rumor on social media, all are not true, and some are true because we even saw some videos too. Right. And a particular woman that Peter Obi came to her rescue. Well, let's see what will happen. Lagos APC backs Tinubu, tax residents on large voters turnout. Tinubu names Doro as ministerial nominee to replace Yewada. Approves 250,000 naira grant for outstanding MSMEs. Details you can find on page 7. And of course, finally, Rivers emergency rule, that's the kicker. Supreme Court reserves judgment in PDP governor's suit. Details on page 6 of the Daily Independent. Those are the headlines from the Daily Independent this morning.
All right. Then we also look at this day newspaper for you, beginning with the Star headline. It says, Sanwo-Olu, Fashola, Ambode, other APC stakeholders endorse Tinubu for re-election. What do the riders say? Ministers, federal lawmakers, Lagos supporters roll out achievements of government. Party stakes 20 million naira prize money for local government with the highest registered voters. What an incentive. The story is on page 10. And then above the name mast, we have two headlines. Senate applauds CFCC's recoveries, convictions under Tinubu's watch. With the rider that says moves to upgrade Balewa Tech University to conventional institution. And then one here that Nigerians can readily relate with, IEA report, $150 billion investment needed to deliver electricity across Africa in 10 years. Those details are on page 37. So if you need $150 billion investment to deliver electricity across the continent in 10 years. Question is, what are we already doing in 2025 in terms of mopping up the required funding? What kind of strategic partnerships are we striking, and how are we projecting for short, medium, and long term? These are issues that should agitate our minds, especially for critical stakeholders across the sector. All right, PDP to no faith on legality of convention October 31, that's at the end of the month, just about a week away. Incidentally, that convention has been scheduled for 14th and 15th of November in Ibadan, or your state capital. All right, NNPC remits over 10 trillion naira to Federation in 8 months, records 4.2 trillion naira revenue in August. And then one of the two riders says profits declines by 323 billion naira month on month. Production constraints persist despite fiscal gains. All right, those will be your headlines this morning from the This Day newspaper. Let's look at one more here. That will be the New National Star, our penultimate paper for you on the program.
All right, quickly, let's look at that paper right now as we wrap it up on the program. The New National Star have a couple of headlines beginning from the big story, blood in Niger. That's the kicker. Again, over 35 die, 46 injured in tanker explosion, not 40 anymore. Then some riders to that story. Nupeng blames bad road, says over 30 tanker accidents recorded on same a route in October. Governor Bagu laments tragedy, decries fuel scoping. This one says 2027 CVR, Abia, Edo, Ebonyi, Ondo lags as Borno, Osun, Lagos lead. Some are lagging, others are leading. Now,
that's the punchline. Some are lagging, others
are leading. All right. Nelfon begins 2025-26 student loan opens portal. Court sacks 13 Ebonyi Council chairmen, 171 ward councillors. What must have informed that? You can pick a copy of the National Star newspaper to go through that. Can Sultan of Sokoto disagree over Christian genocide claims? All right, ADC condemns Ekiti Secretariat arson, alleges coordinated attacks on opposition. Okay, Senate, Takaichi becomes Japan's Sane Takachi, becomes Japan's first female prime minister. Wow, that's beautiful. That's more like a president.
Right.
Let's see how. I'm still working and watching and waiting for the day a woman will become the president of Nigeria. All right, UK issue warning over methanol poisoning risk in Nigeria. Amnesty International condemned remand of MNK's counsel, Ejimako brother in Kuje. Reps investigate a $4.6 billion health grant amid rising HIV, TB, malaria death. Those are the headlines this morning.
All right, sir.
From the National Star.
Star. Right. Let's look at the last paper this morning. That will be the Daily Monitor for you. Above the nameplate with a picture of former governor of Anambra State and the presidential candidate of the Labour Party in 2023, Peter Obi, reinstates SSC Maths as admission requirement for studying any course. Obi urges FG. Of course, West African Examination Council Authority has come out to speak to that issue. So we hope we have clarity now. All right. Federal government to review retirement age of air traffic controllers. That's credited to Minister of Aviation and Aerospace Development, Festus Keyamo. Court sacks Ebonyi local government chairman, councillors, declares election unconstitutional. Reps to probe utilization of HIV, TB, malaria grants. That has been a long time coming. In fact, long overdue. PCC at 50, Tinubu pledges legislative support for digital proactive ombudsman. All right, that's a Public Complaints Commission. We will go after enemies of our sovereignty, Chief of Defense Staff, advocates more non-kinetic measures to defeat insecurity. This debate about kinetic and non-kinetic measures has been on for a while, but whatever it will take for us to put insecurity behind us, I'm sure is welcomed by Nigerians. Tanker explosion kills 35, injures 46 in Niger. That's according to the Federal Road Safety Corps. Just one rider with that headline says Governor Bago mourns victims, warns against scooping fuel. That warning has been here for a long time, but it's amazing how that people are not heeding. Well, those are your headlines this morning from across national dailies. Please do well to read up details from these papers for yourself. And as always, we would like to remind you that Global Television, as a media outfit, does not contribute to these headlines or the content thereof. Neither does the team on Global Morning. All we do is just bring you the headlines exactly as published by the respective publishers. Let's take a quick break. When we return, it will be our first conversation for you. Please stay with us. Global Morning is your top morning show here on Global Television.
We bring you fresh news updates daily while delving into a variety of current affairs and topics.
And at the same time, keeping you well informed about important events, both national and internationals.
Global Morning serves as a valuable source of information, helping viewers like you start your day well informed.
Stay connected from Monday through Sunday to a wide range of latest news making rounds on Global Morning.
We're on the road to protest.
The president meets all of our demands.
This is Global Morning.
Morning is your top morning show here on Global Television.
We bring you fresh news updates daily while delving into a variety of current affairs and topics.
And at the same time, keeping you well informed about important events, both national and international.
Global Morning serves as a valuable source of information, helping viewers like you start your day well informed.
Stay connected from Monday through Sunday to a wide range of latest news making rounds on Global Morning.
We're on the road to protest.
And the president meets all of our demands.
This is Global Morning.
Global Morning is your top morning show here on Global Television.
We bring you fresh news updates daily while delving into a variety of current affairs and topics.
And at the same time, keeping you well informed about important events, both national and international.
Global Morning serves as a valuable source of information, helping viewers like you start your day well informed.
Stay connected from Monday through Sunday to a wide range of latest news making rounds on Global Morning.
We're on the road to protest.
And the president meets all of our demands.
This is Global Morning.
As a matter of fact, the life wire of every nation is the youth, and that's the reason a lot of leaders who are wise and are ready to go far don't look far away from the youth of every nation. Today, we'll be looking at the youth especially, and of course, we have someone, my guest is going to actually be talking to us about so many things. The national development is very important, and the role of Nigerian youth in public service is also very important. And it's one of the things that we will be looking at today. As a matter of fact, a lot of people have heard so many things about, of course, the National Youth Council of Nigeria. That is a hub that brings together all youths in Nigeria from nooks and crannies of the country as it has to do with development. Today, we're looking at national development, and we're considering the role of Nigerian youths in public service. Now we have there's a name I want to call him, the man who the cap feeds, like a lot of youths. Some of you may be wondering why there is celebration among youths in Nigeria a couple of days now, because they have a leader who they so much believe in. And today, we have that leader in the studio, and he will be talking to us. That is the national president of the National Youth Council of Nigeria, in the person of Comrade Issa Babangida Onimisi. It's good to have you join us on the program.
Thank you very much. Thank you. My pleasure.
Well, congratulations. They will say it's not easy. The cap, some people say the man whom the cap feeds, but a lot of people don't know the weight of the cap. The cap is so weighty. Congratulations to start with. How do you feel, coming Nigerian youths? Most of the things that happen in this country, you can't do it without the youths.
Of course.
And now you are heading all these youths now. How do you feel stepping into this big shoe that Nigerians and, of course, the leadership have said, yes, this is the man that can do the right job? How do you feel?
Well, I feel fulfilled as a Nigerian, as a youth, encompassing as a youth. I feel completely fulfilled. And, the youth hold the major population of the Nigerian population. And the truth of the matter is, the youth is about 120 million and still counting. That is to say, the demographic population of the Nigerian youths, if properly utilized, you understand, will go a long way in boosting the economic growth of the country in all sectors. So I believe with what I have, with my experience in the past, with my involvement across board when it comes to unionism and activism, I believe to a very large extent the youth should expect quite a lot from us. That is the new neck that they were just sworn in just a few days ago.
All right. As it is right now, so many things are expected, all right, from a leader like you, because we have youths all around the world. I was speaking, while I was speaking with you behind closed door, I won't say everything you told me that Nigerian youths are going to enjoy right now, because I wouldn't want to let the cat out of the bag. They should get the feelings themselves. But then, as it is right now, what do you think, the youths are clamoring for right now as it has to do with national development, and how the youths are ready to contribute to national development?
Well, in brief, the youth are clamoring for government inclusiveness. They want to be included in the governance of the nation. They also want to be valued at all sphere of, dealings as far as the country is concerned. And, most importantly, if you look at the system here, that is the system of Nigerian politics, I want to categorically tell you that the youths are presently involved in the governance of the country than it used to be in the past. So I would want to say, without mincing words, that the tenure of His Excellency Bola Ahmed Tinubu has gone deep by making sure that they include majorly in his cabinet the youth, even agencies and other parastatals, as far as the federal government is concerned, are being manned by the youth of the country. So in a nutshell, the youth presently needs more, to whom much is given, much is definitely expected. So while we are still clamoring for majority of us coming who has ideas, who are technocrats in profession, are still clamoring to, of course, be included in the national affair, we feel to a very large extent that the youth need majorly to be valued at every point in time.
All right, the youth need majorly to be valued. When you talk about youths being valued, it goes down with me, and it's a pointer to what you're about to do. Now, let's get to talk about the National Youth Council of Nigeria a little bit. Okay. You are here now. You are the new president. You are the one piloting the affairs of Nigerian youth right now. You may not know in details, maybe probably, I'm just saying, of what has been transpiring. But there was an issue, all right, recently, while is it CAC or some persons were saying that the council is not registered, it's not recognized, and all, of course, little issues emerging from the National Youth Council of Nigeria before you came up on board, as in, okay, this is the man that can calm every youth and be able to carry everyone along. Is there anything you would want to say about that?
Just a little something to say.
Okay.
The National Youth Council is registered with the CAC, right? And the little issue we have is something where actually the minister is mediating as we speak, finding a long-lasting solution. And this emanated from the fact that my predecessor, in person of Sukubo, Saraibe Sukubo, from the riverine area, during his time, I think the Board of Trustees are the major issue the council is having. And, infiltration in terms of constitution, the president trying to manipulate the constitution to its favor, right? And, this definitely will spring up plenty issues across board. Majorly, if you look at it, I think I still remember at the Board of Trustees, all other zones, just few zones were represented. Every other zones were excluded, which is not right. So while other zones are clamoring for inclusiveness, we find out that along the line, we find out that there was serious manipulation in the constitution, in the registration of the CAC itself. So I will not want to delve much into the CAC saga, but I want to assure you that the Minister for Youth Development is doing everything humanly possible to make sure that they douse the tension, to make sure that they find lasting solution regarding the issue of Board of Trustees. In fact, that is why recently they had to inaugurate interim. You understand? Regarding the Board of Trustees, they inaugurated an interim committee to spearhead that. And in our own case, election was conducted for us. I emerged by the special grace of God with a vote of over 243.
Okay, election was conducted. Not just, okay, come, be the leader.
No.
Say this is the first time.
For the first time, the youths made their voice known.
Oh.
After a very, very long time, you understand? The process was so fair, free, and credible. Started from the minister himself, who to a very large extent sent invitation to all the state chapters, inviting them for the next elective congress that was held 10th of this month. You understand? From there we held a management meeting. From there, all other stakeholders, zonal stakeholders, had their own various meetings. Since the form began, electoral committee, CPC, that is Congress Planning Committee, and of course, the NTC, the NTC committee were also, which are the caretakers, indirectly the caretakers, manning the organization before a new NEC is being ushered in. They also came up. Everybody try as much as they can in their various committees to give the best they can in making sure that the process is free, fair, and credible. And I can assure you that all through the process, there was no manipulation, there was no bribery, there was nothing like fraud, but still, most importantly, what a lot of Nigerian people are expecting as youth, there was no violence. It was violence-free. At all, we spent about 4 days before the election was conducted.
4 days?
Yes.
Wow, this is more like a national election.
Yes, of course. It's a delegate election. So as, you know how complicated it can be.
Exactly.
So it took about 4 days, then the election was properly held. It was one man, one vote. All true. So at the end of the day, I emerged with a vote of over 243. And my friend, my brother and colleague, the current chairman of KB State, NYCN, took second with a vote of 228 out of 497 votes in total, right? Both the voluntary organizations and the state chapters voted. These are the two people that are mandated to, bring in or usher in a new executives when the time is right. And, in the time past, we used to have a particular president who has spent over 7 years and still feel is a birthright and want to spend more years, and the constitution does not allow that. You understand? So those are things the minister is trying to correct at the moment. And of course, with our contribution, the contribution of the Nigerian youth, I believe to a very large extent, we are finding a lasting solution to this case. Thank you very much.
All right. I think one of the things that you've told me so far, while I was trying to discuss one or two things with you before we came on air, is the fact that your plan and strategy is capturing every Nigerian youth, irrespective of your location and anywhere you are, in as much as the people are ready to work with you. Everyone is going to feel your impact. How do you intend doing that? Because it is big. Someone will tell you, taking care, being in charge of Nigerian youth is somehow as big as being a minister or a senator. If you can be like you are now, if you can be the president of Nigerian youth, you can also be a minister or a House of Rep or a senator in this country. Now, as tedious as that office is, and you have said everyone is going to be carried along and the impact is going to be felt. How do you intend doing that? Because there are people in the credits, in the village, in the rural areas. How do you intend doing that?
I think we're in a digital world where everything is at the tips of our fingers, right? But before I delve into that, you were saying something about, okay, fine, I will come back to that, sorry. But, what we intend to do as NEC, new executive coming in, presently we're working on a database where we'll just give it to the Nigerian youths from the age 18 to 35 with strict compliance as a Nigerian youth. Then what we needed to do is to segment it. Those who are undergraduate, those who have graduated, and those who feel they have skills. You understand? Now, we are partnering with quite a lot of people as we speak. A lot of NGOs are coming, trying to partner with us so we can reach the downtrodden. Number one, we have indigent students, bright indigent students that are leaving the school at every point in time. These are our first point of contact. And we need to catch them young instead of allowing them to go streets-wise. So we are also making sure to see how we can garner resources. All those schools, this is where you start from the education. All those schools where indigent students cannot pay their school fees, we try as much as we can to make it affordable for them. We try as much as to give scholarships across board. Then from this data collection, we know exactly what we are going to do at a particular point in time in a particular place, right? For example, in Abuja, for example, now we have Mararaba, for example. If our database captures the fact that we have majority of people there who are into skills, different kind of skills, we concentrate on what kind of skills they majorly have there and how we can take them along. What do we need to bring to this very metropolis to make sure we capture those people who feel they have skill acquisition to, help them upgrade from what they used to have to a better stage, right? And we have agriculture. A lot of youths are into agriculture. Myself, I'm into agriculture. You understand? But what we needed to do is to advance our agricultural harvestation or still agricultural process. You understand? Where some of them are not using manure, right? They are not using quite a lot of things that will enhance the growth of what we eat in the country. So what we needed to do is to make sure that we partner with the Ministry of Agriculture, see what we can get for the Nigerian youths who are into agriculture, you understand, to ease them the process of, either planting or harvesting. You understand? We're talking about music, Nigerian youths are completely talented in every show when you talk about music, entertainment industry at large. We're also present. I'm collaborating. I have a meeting with one of the star in Nigeria, music star in Nigeria presently, by next week, God's willing. So these are the things we will likely discuss, how we will bring Nigerian youth from where there are people who doesn't have that the contact to get to that space, but have the talent. So we will try as much as can. The Youth Council will stand or will be a bridge between them and the musical industry. And perhaps we all know that in other sector of life, in politics majorly, we are also encouraging youths to contest. You don't need to have money to contest. As long as you have the capacity to deliver, you have the technical know-how as a graduate, and you feel okay at a point in time you can give your all to the society to benefit. All you need is your manifesto. Nigeria is coming to an age where money is not everything anymore. What you can offer should be the order of the day. So presently we are also trying to engage the government itself to give us our little space in the political arena, where you to definitely take over by the special grace of God. And His Excellency Bola Ahmed Tinubu is seriously doing well in terms of youth inclusiveness. You understand? And he is doing quite a lot of things for the student and for the youth of the country. And sincerely, we appreciate it.
Yes, coming to talk about that, I think you caught my attention. You see the way I was just looking and listening carefully when you talked about partnership and how you can actually bring the youth who are talented. Nigerian youths are very talented.
Of course.
They are doing so well outside the shores of the country. But those that don't have the opportunity to live, I think with this your initiative, it's like the Jackpot syndrome among the youth is even going to reduce right now. If we have all of that, if we have what you just said now, because that's what we do. We are in the media. We can hold you accountable. Because as a matter of fact, you're going to be on air as we are speaking right now. In more than 15 countries of the world, they are listening to you, millions of people. So from time to time, we will be having you on the program here. But now come to talk about inclusiveness. What's the level of government support, all right, for the Youth Council? Because whether you like it or not, the funds need to be there for you to be able to carry out this very robust vision that you have and these plans and strategy. What is the level of support from the government? The reason why we're saying this now is we don't just want the government alone to be the supporters. If people who are watching right now, entrepreneurs, business moguls, in fact multinationals, should also try and work with the Youth Council so that at least the youth, they can have a conducive environment. Because one of the things that is known and identified with youth is vices. I don't know if you have plans to actually curtail vices in Nigeria, especially political thuggery, one, drug abuse, two. So now, two questions now, but first of all, let's start with the support you're getting from, how supportive is the federal government as far as the Youth Council is concerned? Because it's a hub, it's a fulcrum. If you lie on it, you wouldn't fall.
At all. Well, like I've said earlier, the government they are supportive. Sincerely, they are seriously supporting the Youth Council to make sure they discharge their duty conveniently. And you see, the reason why I will not delve into that much is because we are just about 10 days or less than 2 weeks in office. And that is where partnership comes in. You yourself said so, not quite long. We are partnering with NGO Business Mogul. As long as you are a Nigerian and you are well to do, we are partnering with you. We are partners in progress. And as for the government of His Excellency Bola Ahmed Tinubu is sincerely doing well. That is why I'm not a praise singer, but when you do something, I try as much as I can to acknowledge it. And that is exactly what I'm doing to the president of our nation, or for our country, Nigeria. He is going to, as I'm speaking to you, there are a lot of scholarships. I was summarizing on scholarship. It's not my money I'm going to use. It was the money being funded by the government itself that we are going to use. So there are a lot of things that is expected from the government that all we needed to do is to assess it as a legitimate council president. You assess it and you give it to those who are in need of it, not for your pocket. So that is why, by the special grace of God, whatever we are doing as Youth Council is going to be plain, is going to be documented for future references. You understand? And I think that should answer your question, because
that answered. But this thing that you said now, I believe in accountability and transparency.
Yes,
I'm going to be holding you.
No problem.
Ramsey is going to be on your neck. I'm saying it on air now.
Whatever we are doing, at least, is going to be, we'll have a kind of, documentary that showcases exactly what the stuff given to us were meant for. You understand? It is time for we to be, as youth, to be accountable to whatever we are doing. You understand? One of the days where somebody will give you something and feel that is all, you just take it without delivering. No, I told my neck, the result is what I want. I love results. How you do it is not my business, but just give me the results.
Give me the results.
So that is to show accountability is a must, is constant in our government by the special grace of God.
All right. One thing is worrisome, Presido, and that's the issue of vices everywhere. You get on the street, you get to churches, you see parents bringing their children. What's the problem? My son, my daughter has been doing drugs for a very long time. Now the person is having mental issue and all of that. How did they get there? That's one problem. Then the issue of thuggery, banditry, insecurity is everywhere. Sometimes you see these youths being conscientized and used. What are you worried about this situation? What can we do as a people? You are the leader of the youths now. What is your plan for orientation and sensitization?
I think every sensible Nigerian youths, or as a Nigerian, you need to be worried. Of course, insecurity knows no age. When it comes, it comes. So I am worried. I believe Mr. President is worried. I believe all the 36 state governors are also worried. And that is why they've been proactive in curtailing those menaces across board. You see, one of the things I felt constitute all those irresponsibility is lack of parental upbringing. That is where it starts from. Because as a parent, if you should train your child well, and when I say well, I'm not talking about beating. When you train, you imbibe that spirit of responsibility, being responsible into your child. I believe to a very large extent, I'm not saying we will have a complete sane country, but at least we will have something decent as far as Nigeria is concerned. You see where a man who cannot take care of his children is giving birth to children back to back. And at the end of the day, those children will be left all alone outside, catering for themselves. When you go to Far North, when you go to anywhere in the country, you will find them walking lonely in the streets. That is parental upbringing. And the government cannot do everything. Because whatever the governments are doing as we speak, they cannot curtail it in totality. But the government are doing their best. We coming on board is to also, help the government to do whatever we can to make sure we have children in the street, off the street, because that is where they catch them young, to involve them in different kind of, vices. The banditry we see today did not just start today. It starts somewhere. When you go into research, you find out that children are majorly used for all those atrocities across board. Even the drug intakes we are talking about, the number of children taking drugs is enormous. But as a parent, if you have this, if you are a parent that watch your children or that watch your child when there is a little bit changes, definitely you understand that your son or your daughter is going astray, and you can decide to bring such person back. Well, unfortunately, we have a system, Gen Z currently.
Yeah, that's what I wanted to talk about. Yeah, societal decadence.
You understand?
I want to belong and all of that.
That is it. And aside that, you see a boy of 14, 15 years old bringing bundles of money. He's now working still in secondary school. To the parent, and they gladly take it.
All right.
That's where it started from. So the government, as a whole, are trying their possible best to, curtail such abnormalities in our society. As leader of the youth, we're also going to do our thing, what we know how to do best, because we know the approaches that we're going to give to them, and they will definitely hear us. We know our languages as youth, so we'll give them the trial and try to see how many we can take off the streets.
I think I like that part where you said, we know our language, we know how we talk to ourselves, we know the language the youths understand, and that's the reason why it's good to have someone like you who has been through the thick and thin, handle youths at different levels, and now you're handling them at the national level. Many thanks for joining us on the program. This is the much time will allow us. From time to time, we will have you. I know you will be media friendly, as a matter of fact.
Of course, I am.
Okay.
I am.
I think you're giving your word. You're talking to millions of Nigerians right now. All right. Thank you very much for joining us today, Babangida Odumisi.
Thank you very much.
This is the national, he's the president of National Youth Council of Nigeria, as a matter of fact, and he has spoken to us. The issue of the registration of the council, he said, well, it is registered, and whatever issue that is coming from some disgruntled individuals is already been handled and been taken care of by the Minister of Youth, of course, Youth Development. Thank you very much for joining us once again. We hope to have more of you in the media space. That's right.
Yes,
thanks for coming. All right, Nigerian youths, this is the size of the first conversation on Global Morning today. You have a national youth president now that is ready to work with all the youths in Nigeria. Let's join our hands together and see how we all can work towards national development for a better Nigeria in the nearest future. All right, let's go on a quick break. After this break, the second conversation will hit your screen. Stay with us.
Global Morning is your top morning show here on Global Television.
We bring you fresh news updates daily. while delving into a variety of current affairs and topics.
And at the same time, keeping you well informed about important events, both national and international.
Global Morning serves as a valuable source of information, helping viewers like you start your day well informed.
Stay connected from Monday through Sunday to a wide range of latest news making rounds on Global Morning.
We're on the road to protest.
The president meets all of our demands.
This is Global Morning.
is your top morning show here on Global Television.
We bring you fresh news updates daily while delving into a variety of current affairs and topics.
And at the same time, keeping you well informed about important events, both national and internationals.
Global Morning serves as a valuable source of information, helping viewers like you start your day well informed.
Stay connected from Monday through Sunday to a wide range of latest news making rounds on Global Morning.
We're on the road to protest.
The president meets all of our demands.
This is Global Morning.
On the 8th of November this year, the people of Anambra State will go to the polls to choose who their next governor will be. Now, there are two options in front of the good people of that state. One is to return Governor Charles Chukwuma Soludo, who is the incumbent governor, for a second term. The other option is to decide who is, in their own opinion and best judgment, to replace her. But until that time, there has been debate back and forth as to how much the incumbent governor has achieved. The whole time he has been in the saddle for close to 4 years. There are those who have marked him very high, others have had their own reasons to rate him down. But really, what are the issues in light of this gubernatorial election, which is an off-grid electoral exercise in Nigeria's election cycle? We also need to understand that there are quite a number of political parties whose candidates have thrown their hearts in the ring in this political fight, let's say. However, in the days ahead, what should the people of that state expect in terms of who is going to put their best foot forward, and what specifically have the candidates been pitching by way of manifesto to voters in that southeastern states of Nigeria? This morning, I'm joined by someone who is not only from Anambra, those we popularly call Anambarians. He is also a political philosopher and a political affairs analyst, Ikemba Prince. I'm trying not to murder your second name. Ezemo.
Ezemo, yes.
Yes.
Ikenga.
Ikenga. Yes. Thank you for coming. I've been looking forward to this conversation about the election.
Thank you.
In Anambra State. Yes. We have heard back and forth. Everybody has been talking. Political party members, the candidates themselves. We have even seen candidates fight dirty about certain issues and all of that. But I'm not sure the people of your state, Anambra, are interested in personal issues. They want to see what exactly is each of the candidates bringing, and how does that serve the overall interest of the people of that state. In your own opinion, what exactly are the concerns of the average Anambra person today?
Thank you very much. You are very, very correct. Our people are not interested in unnecessary rhetorics, especially the ones that are constantly coming from the governor, where he will be attacking the opposition's persons and all whatnot, you know, in why he refuses to address issues. I feel that as a governor who has ruled the state for 3.5 years, he should be telling the people what he has done so far, how much he has gotten from the federation account, how much he has generated from IGR, and what he has been able to achieve with all this money. Then when the Anambra people will now look at it and see if what is on ground, the infrastructure, whatever, the security, everything on ground, is it commensurate with the amount of money that is available to our governor? That is what we want to hear. If it is not, then it is left for the people of Anambra to decisively decide on whether to retain him or to sack him. He is our employee. We employed him, not the other way around. He is not our boss. Rather, the Anambra people are the boss in this matter. So we are not interested in rhetorics. We are not interested in throwing jabs on people, on the elites in the state and other. We want to see Anambra grow beyond what we have now. We want to see Anambra to compete with a state like Lagos, a state like Kanu, and the rest of the A-list state in Nigeria.
When you talk about the issues which you allege that the governor is not paying attention to, rather is getting personal with other political, actors in the state, what exactly are those issues?
The governor for a long time now has been focusing on the personal life. For instance, ever since the APC governorship candidate emerged and eventually picked distinguished Senator Uche Ekwunife as the candidate, the governor
as the running mate.
As the running mate, sorry.
Right.
The governor commissioned a kind of attack on Senator Uche Ekwunife. Well, I understand that Ekwunife is the one making the ticket of Ukachukwu Ekwunife to be extremely viable. I understand that is why the governor and his people are constantly hitting on the lady, on the woman. But that is not what we want. It is not appealing to an average Anambra man. Uche Ekwunife, as far as we know, is one of the best female politicians this country has ever produced, who, got to the level she is on account of goodwill of the people, personal hard work, and God's grace, and not banking on anybody. Maybe, we have a couple of politicians, the female politicians, who were compensated because their husbands died or stuff like that. But this is not the case with Uche. She's a consummate banker, very productive woman. He has run for House of Representative, won House of Representative 2 times, won the Senate seat 2 times. So and not just that she has won all those seats, and because she's a politician, she has affected the lives of the people in the most positive manner. So the governor coming to attack her every second is one of the things that will even make people of Anambra to vote against the governor. I tell people, APOGA is a very popular party in my state. Professor Chuma Soludo is not that popular, but he's in a popular party, no doubt about that. But when the time comes, on November 8th, our people are going to choose, should we continue to wallow in sin by continuously voting APOGA when they don't give us what we want as a state?
This is what it's quite a tightrope, if you ask me. I'll explain why. 48 hours ago exactly, I had a chieftain of the APC here, and I asked him very pointedly. I said, look, as it stands today, if we were to have a 2-horse race between the APGA candidates, which happens to be the incumbent governor, and the APC candidates, Prince Ukachukwu, what is going to be the ratio? Who is going to tip the scale? He said it's going to be a 50-50 race. That's evidently is a tight race already. Yes. But there are people who say, just like you alluded to, that the competitive advantage for Governor Soludo is the fact that, like you mentioned, he is in a popular party, and the people of Anambra generally love APGA. Is that not already a fighting chance for him in this race?
Yeah, there are a couple of factors that made APOGA to be very popular in my state. One, we are seeing APOGA as the last legacy of our father, Dim Chukwemeka Odumegwu Ojukwu, who told Anambra people to vote P2B for the second term as his last wish. And immediately after that election, Ojukwu died. So we are hanging on the fact that this is the legacy of our father. But as it stands today, Governor Chukwuma Soludo had defaced the face of Ojukwu in APOGA. There is nothing about Ojukwu anymore in APOGA. You can't find his face in any of their campaign materials. You can't find Ojukwu's face in any of their offices and others. So Ojukwu is no longer a factor. Secondly, I may not be very much comfortable with this, but that is a fact. APOGA seems to be the political organ of the Catholic Church in the state. And to a very great extent, Anambra, unquote, can be described as a Catholic state. As it stands today, the governor is no longer in good terms with the church. I can tell you that about 5 or 6 bishops, Catholic bishops we have in Anambra, 4 of them don't want to hear anything Soludo, So these are the factors that will affect him, and these are the people that will decide when the time comes. So we are looking for an alternative, somebody who is down to earth, somebody who is not arrogant. The current governor arrogates a whole lot of power to himself as if he is the political godfather of the state. And Anambra is not a place one person can become a kingdom, political kingdom. It doesn't happen in Anambra State. It has never happened, and it will not start with Governor Soludo. Despite all these things he's doing, even if he wins, which I'm sure he will not, at the end of the 4 years, Anambra people will show him that indeed he has not really done well all this while.
If APGA presented a different person, a different candidate, would your opinion or assessment of APGA in light of this election and indeed the political atmosphere in Anambra be different?
One of the things that changed the political dynamics of Anambra State of today is the death of Senator Ifeanyi Ubah. If Senator Ifeanyi Ubah were to be alive today, I tell you in honesty, this whole story will not be the same. And the governor, I'm sure, will be more serious with governance, he'll be more serious with campaigns, and he'll be more serious with issues. But he just playing around, believing that the rest are very small for him. But he is going to meet a very surprising atmosphere on November 8th because the people are tired.
What magic will happen between now and election day?
No. Look, let me tell you, Anambra people are very dynamic people. They have really, gotten tired of the governor. But it is only on an election day. I know the governor will bring a whole lot of money because when you look at what he did, I think in August 21st, when we had by-election, senatorial by-election and House of Assembly by-election, where APGA deployed the billions to buy votes. I am sure he is waiting on that morning of 8th of November to bring out billions to buy votes. Our people might likely collect that money. And that is why when he goes to rally, he sees people, still clapping for him and stuff like that. They want him to bring out that money that he has been keeping so that we pocket it and then vote somebody whom we feel will listen to people. Somebody whom they feel, a number of people feel that, somebody who is close to them, somebody who will, from time to time be humble enough to understand that governance is all about the people and not an elitist game.
It's interesting how that you talk to people about Anambra State, including yourself, and they don't seem to rate Governor Soludo very high. But there are those who say that the man, amongst other things, has achieved a lot in terms of the fight against insecurity, especially these so-called unknown gunmen.
Well, I can tell you that in the Southeast today, Soludo is the most unpopular governor.
Across the 5 states?
Across the 5 states. Tell me any governor he's more popular than. If not the fact that Soludo is in APGA, nobody will be discussing Soludo today. I have established the fact that APGA is a very popular party in my state. But Soludo as a person, as a politician, as a governor, is the most unpopular person today in the Southeast as far as the 5 governors are concerned. Now, coming to the issue of insecurity you mentioned. This is 3.5 years of Governor Soludo's tenure. The first 2 years of my governor, there was a killing spree in Anambra. The insecurity rose to the level that we've never seen it before in the history of the state. Even during the time of Mbadi, it wasn't that bad. It is under this governor that 2 House of Assembly members were kidnapped, murdered. 2 years after, some people were caught as the people who murdered the Honorable Azuka from Onitsha. After a few days, we were told that those people escaped from the custody. Up to today, nobody has heard anything about it. I can go on and
But you can't tie that to the governor. The governor is not the...
No, he is the chief security officer of the state. There's no... See, somebody like Governor Nyesom Wike, for instance, we may not like a lot of things he does. But you know that there are a lot of things that will not happen under his nose. As a governor, Nyesom Wike never allowed non-state actors to take over the state under what guise? He asserted himself and consistently made people to understand that he is in charge. And he protected the lives of his people and their properties maximally. Now, the governor is the chief security officer. He collects security votes that run into billions on a monthly basis. So he has no excuse as to why people are dying every day in his state. Only for him to wake up on the eve of election year. That tells you he purposely went into sleep for the 2 years that there were killing spree in the state. As we have it today, he has improved in the area of security, no doubt. But my question is, those families that lost their people on the carelessness of the governor, do you think they will be smiling today? Look at Ihiala. I have seen him, he has gone for campaign in Ihiala. He campaigned very heavily in Ihiala, I think last week. This is the same local government that people that our people were displaced there completely in about 5 towns. APC is from Ihiala. I can tell you for the past 2 years, 3 years of Governor Soludo's regime, AP has never gone to his house in Ihiala.
Why is that?
Because of insecurity. Yes, that is very correct. But today the governor has improved, which means he knew all along what to do to improve the security, but he never did it because he felt that it's not necessary. Only for him to wake up in an election year for us to vote him again. No. I think we need to start showing politicians that if they cannot do that which they are elected to do, they can be voted out, irrespective of the party.
Interesting. Let's take a quick break at this point, everyone. When we return, a couple of more issues to look at. The APC is the ruling party at the federal level in this country, and the party also has a dog in the fight in Anambra gubernatorial election. What exactly is going to be the advantage that will work for, or the disadvantage that will work against that candidate in this election? And second, we understand that all else equal, in the next few days, Professor Josh Mukbiton will resume the saddle at the Independent National Electoral Commission, INEC, using the Anambra election as a litmus test for his leadership. What does that mean for not just this election, but a couple of other elections that are scheduled up ahead? We'll talk to you about that and some more after this break. Please do stay with us. There are those who say that, as it stands today, the APC candidate also has some fighting chance in this election, especially given what we now know as, on the one hand, power of incumbency, and then federal might. Do you see any chance in that regard?
Well, I would really want the power blocks to allow the people to decide from both ends. If the presidency will support the APC candidate, let it be moral support. Asiwaju, I believe, will not want to, come into the ring and become one of the candidates. Let it be a kind of moral support. Nobody should support the governor, and nobody should support
So you're advocating a level playing field?
A level playing field. Let Anambra people decide. But I want to believe that when it comes to that moral support and whatever, legitimate logistic support that should be given, the federal government should support, the party at the center should support their own. Because one of the things Prince Nicholas Okachu wants to do is to leverage on all the advantages you can get from the federal level to develop Anambra State. So I think we need, for instance, what is happening in a state like Ebonyi. Senator Dave Umahi became, when he entered APC, we saw that there was change in terms of the level of infrastructure in Ebonyi. Ebonyi has changed for the better. So we want to have Anambra change for the better. If you go to Anambra State today, I can't tell you of any federal infrastructure I know of. Even the roads are not what it should be. So the governor, the incoming governor, Prince Nicholas Okachu, want to connect to the center, not just for connecting sake, not just for mundane sake, but to leverage on every advantage you can get from the center for the benefit of an average Anambrarian. So I personally will want a playing ground. The governor should not deplete the resources of the state in order to force himself back on us. Let there be playing, fair playground for all of them to compete. And mind you, it's not only APC and the APOGA that is even in the ring. Right. We have Labour, we have ADC, and a few other pockets of other parties here and there.
You've made my job easier, so let's jump right to Labour Party. Going into the election, the general election in 2023, the Peter Obi factor did work a lot of magic for that party, and then of course the Obedient movement as a political base and all of that. Incidentally, Peter Obi is from Anambra State. He had been a governor of that state for 2 terms, and that in itself is fundamentally essential. Is it possible that the Labour Party can bring that same clouds into this election?
Well, we know P2B is not in the ballot as of today, or doing for November 8th election. You know, what happened in 2023 was that P2B was in the ballot, and we wanted to make some level of political point. That is why you see us in 2023, we voted what we call top to bottom. Though
For Labour?
For Labour. Though we are regretting that now. Because
why the regret?
Yeah, the regret is that a lot of people that we have voted under Labour became colossal disappointments, especially those of them in National Assembly. Go and check tell me any Labour lawmaker that is making any reasonable wave in the National Assembly. In Anambra State, apart from Dr. Tony Moye, and then Victor Ume, is there any other Labour lawmaker that is making wave in the National Assembly? None. You know, so we are not going to repeat that mistake again. We are going to vote individuals when the time comes. So, and that is also what will happen in this governorship election. You see, if I am to say, you see, the candidate of Labour, the candidate of ADC, and then the candidate of YPP, they should come together and have a meeting and support one person if they are really serious in dislodging Governor Soludo. There is this accusation that one or two of them are even working for the governor. They should show the people that indeed they are not working. Let there be coalition in the state. They should come together and support the candidate of APC, because he is the only person who has the capacity as it stands today to fight the governor head on, because he has the capacity as a person. Then he has a deputy that is, in all due respect to everybody, more than a governor. You know, so it is only their ticket that can dislodge Soludo, and the rest of the party, if they want the governor to really give way, they should form a coalition and support the candidacy of Chief Nicholas Ukachukwu.
There is the insinuation, or if you like, the school of thought that all the talk around coalition is just hanging at the federal level or the national level. On the 8th of November, will that conversation trickle down in the election in your state?
That is why I'm advocating for that. As of now, there's nothing like that, because ADC, that is the coalition party, has a candidate who is even weaker than the candidate of Labour. All right. In fact, ADC, if they don't form a coalition now at that state level, the ADC candidate will come a distant fourth in that election, a distant fourth, because both Chief Paul Chukwuma of the YPP and Chief Moralo in Labour will beat him. So the best thing, in my opinion, is for these three parties to talk to themselves
and form a common front.
Yes, and join a common front with President Nicholas Ukachukwu, who is flying the flag of the APC.
All right, let's pivot a little away from partisanship and talk about the administration of electoral processes. A gentleman in the person of Professor Joshua Mukbito has now been confirmed by the Senate, and we understand that in a matter of days he would assume office. This will be his first acid test, so to speak, in terms of administering elections and all of that. And you and I know that every time we're done with an election, no matter what the outcome is, there's always a reason to blame certain things on INEC.
Yeah.
What are your expectations in this regard?
Well, from the resume of the current chairman, he seems to be an astute academia. You know, I have observed in recent past that academic excellence does not translate into leadership excellence. Of course, Governor Soludo has actually shown that. The INEC chairman should, change the face of INEC. The INEC of Nigeria, as it stands today, seems to be one of the worst electoral commission in Africa, in the world. And not it is not the frames or the walls of INEC building that made it so. It is the humans there. And the ball stops on the table of the INEC chairman. I would want Professor Ameputan to understand that he has an opportunity to write his name in gold or mess it up like the previous INEC chairman, See, I see no reason why we will not have electoral reform in this country. We need to have real electoral reform. And again, the chairman should be determined to, whatever they tell Nigerians, let it be what they will do. For instance, in the last election, they told us that they will transmit results
electronically
from polling unit to whatever
IRF.
At the end of the day, Nigerians were told that there was technical glitch, and it stops there. Nobody will want to hear that. This is modern time, for goodness sake. If I can be here in your studio and call my grandmother in the village, why shouldn't INEC transmit results from any part of this country to their central server? It is possible, it is doable, if and only if there is the determination to be civilized, for goodness sake. So the current chairman should use Anambra as a litmus test, like you said. This is his first election. Let us have the best of election. We are not going to, this is human society, we are not going to have anything perfect because we are not perfect. But when there is an attempt to be perfect, of course, it will be seen to be perfect. There is this need to do all that should be done, to have an election that is free, that is fair, that is free from every form of manipulation. Once there is manipulation, people will lose. I tell you, maybe in 2027, a lot of people might not vote in Nigeria because they will be feeling that they came out in large number to vote in 2023 and eventually their votes never count. But I tell people that vote counts. If votes do not count in Nigeria, politicians will not be spending as much as 30,000 to buy a vote. Votes count. But INEC sometimes, for whatever reason, make people believe that indeed vote do not count, but vote counts. So the professor should rescue, not rescue himself because I have not done anything, but he should rescue INEC. Yeah, he should rescue
in terms of INEC. The image and the perception.
Exactly.
Interesting. So quickly, in 1 minute, the CVR, continuous voter registration, has been on for a while now. Do you see that reflects in the number of voters you would expect to see on election day on the 8th of November? Yeah,
of course. Like I have said, our people have been, told that the best thing is to come out. If you see, one of the things that the governor did that is good, that's the incumbent governor for Anambra. The incumbent governor is deploying a lot of money to buy votes within the last. Do we have anything scientific to prove that he actually had spent money buying? He is the leader of APUGA. Right. And APUGA as a party spent billions buying votes. So it is correct for anybody to say that it's the governor doing that because he's the leader of the party. I am not seeing any of them as buoyant enough to fund such spending. So it is the party. It is APUGA that bought votes with billions. In Anambra South, senatorial by-election, APUGA bought votes with 30,000 per vote. And at the end of the day, they say they have 90-something thousand votes. So multiply 30,000 by 90,000, and that will give you an idea of the possible figure they might have spent buying vote. Well, hopefully by the time I bag a degree in accounting, I'll be able to do that mathematics. But I'd like to say we appreciate you coming to share your valuable thoughts with us here regarding the election that has been scheduled for 8th of November in Anambra State, southeast Nigeria. I've been speaking with Ikenga Prince Ezemo, who has come to talk to us about what has been happening regarding the narratives around the election in the states. By the way, just to mention again, it's an off-cycle election. Nigerians are looking forward to seeing how INEC, as the umpire, would conduct itself, all else equal, under the leadership of Professor Josh Omokpito, which will become more like an indicator of what the country should expect in the case of Osun and Ekiti states, and going forward when the big one happens in 2027. We're taking a quick break. We'd like to also remind you that Global Television will continue to track developments on the ground in Anambra, especially as it has to do with this election.
When we return, we'll call it a wrap on the program. Global Morning is your top morning show here on Global Television.
We bring you fresh news updates daily while delving into a variety of current affairs and topics.
And at the same time, keeping you well informed about important events, both national and internationals.
Global Morning serves as a valuable source of information, helping viewers like you start your day well informed.
Stay connected from Monday through Sunday to a wide range of latest news making rounds on Global Morning.
We're on the road to protest.
The president meets all of our demands.
This is Global Morning.
Youth, election, and governance, like some sort of CMS twin, all right, co-joined in the head. You almost can't separate one for the other. But again, the youth population, which you understand is about 65% in the case of Nigeria, is what we must continue to harness to drive growth and jumpstart development in Nigeria.
Well, very important, because if we must make headway, these discussions will have to be in the fore every now and then. We can't stop talking about it.
Obviously.
We'll keep talking about it until the change happens.
The change happens. All right, so that's what we're leaving it on Global Morning today. I would like to appreciate everyone who has spent their time with us here, and also remind you that the views of all our guests across all of our programs, including here on Global Morning,